What is up, everybody? This is TB University, episode 9. Not a lot of games this week, but, we are in the middle of the college football season. Crazy things happen week in and week out. I just can't believe we're at this point. I can't believe all the storylines this season. It's been a fun one.
College football is the greatest sport on the planet. I love it, dude. It just never misses. There's always something for everyone. I just love watching college football on Saturdays. And even if it's not my team, two of my two favorite teams, the teams I adore, were both on bye weeks. Both, prepping for one of their bigger rivals. So, but I still love watching college football. A bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, for me, it is more entertaining than the NFL.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you, man.
I watch the Bucks. As you guys know, you can watch TB3, where we talk all things Buccaneers. So you can get our takes on that. But, outside of the Buccaneers, man, it's hard to watch the NFL. But college football, I'm all in. From 12 o'clock to midnight when Hawaii starts, I'm watching.
Beautiful.
I even found a streaming app that has Hawaii games. Like,
really?
I have an app just so I can watch them.
Who'd they play last week? They played someone solid,
Nevada.
Right? Yeah.
And they got the dub.
Go Rainbow Warriors, baby.
I know a guy on their
Hawaii?
team. Yeah,
Sick, bro.
He played at my alma mater with me. He was a freshman. I was a senior. He transferred.
Like high school alma mater
or college?
He was at LTU, baby?
Yeah,
Let's
he was
go.
for a season. Defensive end from Hawaii.
Wow.
I don't know why he chose LTU. I don't blame him for transferring. But week 0, he had the best PFF grade out of any college football player.
Well, how
I know
about
there wasn't
that?
a lot of games. Yeah.
How
Shout out
about
Jackie
that?
Johnson.
Shout out Jackie Johnson.
The third.
I'm right there with you. I was telling someone the other day, I was telling someone the other day, I was like, NFL games, I like watching them. I'll watch pretty much throughout the day, but I'm not stopping what I'm doing to watch anything other than the Buccaneers. I'm stopping what I'm doing to watch, Texas A&M versus LSU. Oh, electric football game. I'm stopping what I'm doing to watch this game. So, but we'll start with the hometown team. They didn't play this week. USF came off. They're on a bye week this week, coming off their first American Conference win against the UAB Blazers. A big win to snap their losing skid. And they head into what is somewhat of a rivalry game. I think Tom Herman, the FAU coach, said it best. He said, "We hate them, and I hope they hate us back." That is a real quote. I did not make that up. So, interesting, situation. This is kind of like a conference-forced rivalry, if you will. I don't think USF completely cares, but it's a big game. Coming off FAU beat you last year, and you're going into Boca Raton, a place that USF has some history at. They're the Boca Raton Bowl champions, beating Syracuse there. And they're playing in the same stadium. So we'll dive into it, Will. What are you looking at in this matchup on Friday night?
Yeah, before I get into it, just imagine, sitting at home. Well, the better team wins a postseason game on your field.
It's brutal.
That.
Yeah.
And, USF had no business losing that game last year. And they have no business losing this game either. Maybe the Costco guys will be there. That kind of scares me.
If the Rizzler's there, you can count it. You can count it as a loss.
They're all over. He was on Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, they're too big time for FAU anymore.
Maybe. Did you see that one video from the Costco guys? Because they were at they're doing pregame for FAU, and someone daps up Big Justice Big Justice, and he wipes his hand on his shirt, and the captain's like, "Dang, bro, I didn't realize I was that disgusting."
Man, that's how FAU fans are. That's how they should be treated. They're disgusting.
But yeah, they have no business losing this game, despite if there's any booms being brung. 5 out of 5 for the reference, maybe. But no, when I look at this game, I think USF matches up well, and this is famous last words, as they might say. But you look at the Florida Atlantic defense. They're pretty good in the pass game, but they are absolutely terrible in the run game. Absolutely terrible. One of the worst teams in college football. And you look at a USF team that's kind of struggled running the ball. This could be the perfect opportunity for them to get it going. So I would love to see that there on that side of the ball. And then on defense, it's the other way. It's the same thing. They are terrible at passing the ball. which USF has struggled with to cover. And they're very good at running the ball. Their quarterback Cam Fancher, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. He's turned into a runner. He runs it about 15 times a game. So you're going to want to look for that. But USF, by all means, has been pretty good against teams as far as rushing defense. So I think this could be a break for them defensively if they're able to shut down the pass. You already got the run game unlocked. I mean, this should by all means be a USF victory.
Yeah, I completely agree. FAU, they boast 3 rushers, including their quarterback Fancher, that are over 300 yards on the season. So that rushing attack is what they're going to try to establish offensively. And I think it's pretty easily stopped. They're 2-5, and you look through some of their games. I mean, they're not scoring a lot of points. There's a couple games where they kind of outbursted. I mean, they lost to UConn 48-14. I don't think this isn't basketball. This is football. You should not be losing to UConn 48-14. But I mean, offensively, I think USF, while FAU's defense does struggle against the run, it's important. We've heard this story before. UAB's defense struggled against the run, and while USF was able to establish in the fourth quarter, if you don't have a two-dimensional offense and you get off the field and can't convert on third down, that run game doesn't really help you because you can't really establish anything. So USF has to, no matter who the quarterback is. I guess I can break your injury news. I have an update from the day from, your USF Tampa Bay Times reporter, Joey Knight. He says Alex Golesh says that Byram is practicing and has continued to practice. His deal is simply when is he going to be healthy enough to truly go. Golesh acknowledged that Bryce Archie has taken first-team reps this week, and you should know more about Byram Brown's status Thursday. You asked me, that doesn't really invoke confidence that Byram Brown will play this Friday night. And like Will mentioned, I don't think we need Byram Brown to win this game, but Bryce Archie has had some up and down moments. He has to at least make the passing game respectable if USF wants to kind of, go on that, keep that uphill swing of offense from the last game going.
Yeah, I'd say by all means, that most definitely means Archie's going to start, at least start in what capacity. I don't know. Maybe if if they pull the panic button, maybe Brown can come in, but I wouldn't count on it at all. I'd say you're probably not going to see Byram Brown this weekend. But I think, what I want to see with Archie is you want to see some progression. You want to see him improve a little bit. One thing, that sticks out to me is, he's completing less than 50% of his passes. I'd like to see that go up, and I'd like to see him not throw an interception. Can you not throw an interception against this defense? Can you have a positive touchdown interception ratio and be able to complete a lot of your passes? That's what I'd like to see from Archie.
Yeah, and another thing on the passing game, Bryce Archie has completed less than 50% of his passes, but that can't all go on him because USF receivers have had the case of the drops these last 2 weeks since Bryce Archie has taken over. It's been pretty ridiculous. Yep. Our Pookie Bear Sean Atkins has, kind of forgotten how to hold on to the ball these last couple of weeks. He's your senior leader, the leading receiver in USF history.
Future Buccaneer.
Got to be, dude. If he wasn't playing so bad, I'd say pull him up from the minors. But he's not. He's Jonathan Aranda right now. It's not good. But Sean Atkins has to be better. I'd like to see them get Yassine a little bit more involved. Mm-hmm. What Singleton? That was the guy who went crazy that last game. Keyshawn Singleton. So all these guys, I think USF's receivers are kind of better than what they've shown and what their numbers shown. I think there's a lot of talent there.
They have a loaded room. By no means should they be making these mistakes.
Absolutely. So if they're able to hold on to the ball, I think they will be able to get some big plays against this FAU defense. And big plays is going to be kind of the key. I think USF, when they have struggled, they've allowed some big plays. I look at, early on those big games, Alabama, Miami, the big plays are what kind of, crippled you. And on the flip side, I mean, UAB had some big plays. USF has been lacking big plays. That's been kind of their case. And if USF can come away with more explosive plays than FAU, which I think they're capable of and they should, they will be in a good spot. But when you kind of allow, FAU to break off a huge run, or like you said, you throw an interception, these big explosive splash plays, that's how a team pulls an upset, is they have more of those than you. So USF has to, calm this game down, impose their will, and win the game they're supposed to win. That's what you should do if you want to be the class of the American.
I completely agree. And I think by all means they should do that. We said at the beginning of the year, I mean, this FAU team, we were breaking down the schedules. They've lost a lot of talent. They aren't even close to the team they were last year. I expect you guys to win this game. It's not really like, maybe could they? It's a toss-up. No, you are expected to win this game, and you need to. Keep this season, don't let this season be a failure, because a lot of people are talking about that. And even us, we were hyping them up to start the year, dark horses, and we weren't the only ones, of course. There's a lot of people who thought, this could be, one of those years USF, could sneak into the playoffs somehow. Don't let the season be a disappointment. Win the games you're supposed to, beat FAU.
5 games left. You got to go 4-1 to improve your win-loss total from last year. You go 5-0, that would be awesome. But I'm right there with you, Will. They already did better than last year. They almost lost to UAB, a team they shouldn't have lost to for the second year in a row, but they didn't. They won that game, and I'd like to see them do the same thing with FAU. That was kind of the lull of the 2023 season in the middle, where it was kind of unexplainable, like what USF was playing like.
Couldn't stop a nosebleed.
It was, and then you score almost 70 against Memphis and still lose. Crazy game. But yeah, I think that USF, they should win this game, and I think they will. So right now, I'll just go ahead and pick them. I'm going to pick USF to win this game, 31-20. By the way, USF is only a 3-point favorite in this one. Kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, I think they're going to play a little bit better than that. I think I take the over on that. I think USF can put up a lot of points against this team, and I think this might be the perfect team coming out of a bye week that you can really improve on the things you've been struggling on. So with that being said, I think USF wins this game 37-24.
All right. So watch out for your USF Bulls. They are on Friday Night Football, Friday Night Lights, 7:30 ESPN2 in Boca Raton. If you want to make the trip back to Boca Raton, the FAU campus, do it. The tickets are cheap. It's not that too bad of a drive from Tampa, probably about 3 hours or so. Could be a fun trip for you guys. So USF fans, if you're there, let us know. Send us some pictures. If you're going to the game, let us know. We love to see USF fans supporting USF. And so Saturday, Gators got a big one. They're in Jacksonville against the Georgia Bulldogs, a team that has kind of owned them since Kirby Smart has been there. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party, one of the best rivalries in football. You got to love, when you get the rivalry game that, plays at a neutral site every single time. It's going to be interesting. Jacksonville is rebuilding their stadium, so there's going to be a couple-year period of where they're going to have to find a place to play this game. One of the places mentioned in that is Tampa, actually. They might play Florida, Georgia, and Raymond James.
That'd be pretty fire.
I'd have to get a ticket to that. That would be
Have
awesome.
they played somewhere else? They have to have had, right? Or has it always been at least somewhere in Jacksonville?
So, my understanding...
Daytona Beach?
Maybe.
No, there's not really a stadium.
Yeah.
They played at the Speedway.
That was Bristol, though. They're playing a baseball game there next year.
That's what I'm saying. You could do the same thing for football.
They could. I know they've played on campus at others a couple times, but back in the day that caused some problems. Way too many drunk fans, way too many fights is what my parents and grandparents told me, and it's kind of like unk stories. You know how it goes, a little bit more dramatic than they need to be. But yeah, I don't know where else. They might. I did see like maybe one they might play in Atlanta, one in Florida, down in Tampa, and obviously
Atlanta would sting for the Gators.
Yeah, Gainesville's not too bad. I think at that point it's college football. It's the one game. I think the Gator fans would make the trip.
I mean, yeah, they probably get equal, ticket shares and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I think it would be fine. That would, Gators, that would be.
It kind of feels like a home game though for Georgia.
A little bit for sure. I mean, Jacksonville's not that far from Gainesville though, so it's kind of like one of those things where you kind of already getting that. But yeah, Saturday, it's in Jacksonville, Everbank Stadium, right on the water. Beautiful stadium. I've been there. I like it. So yeah, Florida. I think they're coming off 3 straight losses to Georgia. Probably about 5 out of 6, maybe 6 out of 7. And, they're coming off a big win. They had their bye week last week, and before that they had a 48-20 win against the Kentucky Wildcats, one of the most convincing wins in the Billy Napier era. And I'll give the floor to you, Will, real quick. I mean, any keys to what the Florida can do to maybe keep the game interesting at least?
I just think like we've seen Georgia start off slow in plenty of games, especially in the first half. And I think if the Gators want any chance of staying in this, you got to capitalize on it. If Georgia comes out sloppy, you got to be able to capitalize. You look at the Alabama game. You look at the Kentucky game that Georgia played. They struggled big time in that game, and Florida had no problem with them. So I think you gotta be able to start fast and physical in the first quarter, first snap of the game. If you can't do that, it might be tough for you.
Absolutely have to set the tone. I'm right there with you guys because, I mean, Georgia has pretty much been punking us for 5 years. I mean, that's the truth as a Florida fan. They have, in the last few games, they have these, like, scoring runs. And it's kind of like basketball where, you know, you're like, oh, a team's going on a 9-0 run. They impose their will. The game's over. Georgia has done that. You don't see that in football. Georgia has done that in football games against Florida. I mean, I look back at last year. Florida goes down, scores on the opening drive, and then they don't score pretty much for the whole first half, I think. And then I look a couple years ago, Anthony Richardson, you know, playing quarterback. He throws about, I think they have 3 or 4 turnovers right before the half ends. And, you know, a 3-0 game turns into, I think it was 27-0 game. It's pretty crazy. And these runs have happened pretty often, you know, even in the Dan Mullen era, now for sure in the Billy Napier era. So you have to set the tone. You cannot allow the Georgia Bulldogs to have a run like that. That is unacceptable, and it cannot happen in this game if you want any chance. Another key, defensively, you got to keep stopping the run. We got an old friend on the other side, Trevor Etienne. You don't want to let that guy run all over you. That would be a bad look for the program. And you want to send a message to that guy. You know, I'm talking Brandon Spikes to Noshawn Moreno in 2008. That's what I'm looking to see from Shamar James this Saturday. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. But yeah, Florida has got to continue to stop the run. They since the bye week, their defense has been considerably better. They held UCF to 13 points, Tennessee to 23, and Kentucky to 20. This has been a huge improvement. It was, you know, defense looked horrible. A&M, Miami could move the ball up and down the field against them. But Florida, you know, Austin Armstrong, Schlubby as Will likes to call him, Ron Roberts, they've done a good job of bringing these guys back in, having them buy back in, and the defense has been fantastic. The defensive line has got to keep that up against Georgia because that was kind of how they imposed their will against Texas on offense. And then on defense, Georgia had 7 sacks against Texas in their last game. The number 1 ranked Texas Longhorns with Quinn Ewers, Arch Manning was in there, mobile quarterback, 7 sacks against them. You can't let that happen. That is exactly how Georgia took a chokehold of that game. And you can't let the quarterback get sacked, and you also have to continue to run the football. Since the bye week, Florida has run for 155 yards per game. So in the trenches is huge. That's where Florida's been dominated, and that's kind of the question mark for Florida, especially offensive line has been, you know, up and down this season. As for the weapons, I mean, you got freshman quarterback DJ Lagway. How do you feel like DJ Lagway is going to perform in his first, you know, big rivalry game? I guess he played Tennessee, but big game for him, neutral site.
Yeah, neutral site. I think he'll probably play well. I've always given credit where credit's due for the Gators, as much as I dislike them, that Billy Napier does have a pretty solid offense, and I think you've seen Lagway get better and better each game. But I think, like you said, it comes down to the trenches. He's only as good as the guys in front of him can hold up, and I think, you know, that's been a problem with the Gators. They kind of let Mertz get killed the past 2 seasons. You can't let Lagway get killed. You absolutely cannot. So the O-line really has to step up, lock down these Georgia defenders, or it could be a long night.
Absolutely. I think a thing that's going in DJ Lagway's favor is he's a mobile quarterback. You know, you started off that Kentucky game. He had a few quarterback runs that kind of opened up the offense for him. So I think quarterback run could be a pretty good key. Obviously, you don't want to overuse it and get DJ hurt, but it could be a key in this game to help kind of, you know, offset and kind of, you know, relieve some of that pressure from the Georgia Bulldogs defense. And I think I look at receiver, and I think Florida has a considerable advantage. You know, Georgia's always going to have good DBs, but Florida has a really, really good receiver room. Elijah Badger, Trey Wilson, Shamir Dike, you know, just to name a few, even tight ends, Arliss Bullingham. I feel good about those weapons. So if these guys, if DJ can get them the ball, I feel good about this offense. I really do. I think Florida is playing really good football. I think they're playing some of the best football in the SEC right now if you go off just looking at their last 3 games. And I do want to vote some confidence because Florida's playing good football. It's going to be a tough game. Georgia's always charged up for this game. It's one of the biggest rivalries for both teams and in college sports. So it's going to be a tough one, but I do, if you're a Florida fan, hold on to these things. DJ Lagway has improved every game. Will just said it. That is true. The running game has been really good, and it has shown no signs of slowing down. If you can establish that, you're in a good spot. Defensive line has been dominating these teams these last few games. You held Tennessee down, a really good rushing attack. You can do that with Georgia as well. So you got to hold on these things. You got to hope that Florida continues to play good ball, doesn't allow one of these crazy scoring runs where the game gets away, and just keep it close. Keep it close and make Georgia think about it. Because, you lose a game like this for Georgia, that could really, damage your playoff hopes. So there's a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, I think even for the rest of Florida's season, if you can keep this game somewhat close, even if you don't come away with the win, I think that does a lot for the program. But, if you lay an egg, it's not going to go well for the rest of the year. This is you want to get to a bowl game. You want to get to 6-6. Not saying Georgia's a team to do it, but at least you got to give that locker room hope. And it starts with Billy Napier. You got to give them hope that they can do that they can, continue to improve. They can get better from 5-7 last year. So
yeah, I agree. Even you look at the Tennessee loss, a game that you would have loved to have, really could have had it, but you played a really tough physical team, a top 10 team on the road very well, and then the next game you come out and you smoke Kentucky. So a competitive game could do wonders for Florida's season. I'm right there with you. But a win would do even more wonders.
It would.
I guess. Also, last year, Billy Napier tried to run some stuff that was so dumb, and he got really reckless.
Didn't they go for it on 4th and 1 on their own 10 or something?
Something like that. He did something crazy. I think a couple plays that were like, what are we doing? So let's not do that, Billy. Don't get reckless. Keep it. You got the talent. You got a lot of talent. Just win the game. If you want to throw a couple of wrinkles, that's fine, but don't get reckless. Score prediction?
Man, it would be pretty awesome. I just don't know if I can pick Florida. But I think it actually will be a pretty decently close game. I think Florida can keep it close. I'm going to say 43-27. 43-27 Georgia takes it. But it's a lot closer than the score looks. I think Georgia might do, if they get that far ahead, they're trying to run it up to make it look prettier. But
this is really funny. The spread, so 43-27, that's a 16-point differential. The spread is 16.5. Wow. Vegas knows ball,
and I think
apparently.
Gators could cover.
They could. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that Georgia's good, but I think Florida has the talent. I think they're going to keep it pretty close.
You could see a tie game at halftime, something like that.
Something like that. And if you're right there, man, just keep on. But I think Georgia's a little bit too much at the end. I think the Gators will cover. Give me the Bulldogs 38-28.
Man, now we got to get to the team that actually played, and it's not even fun to talk about. That is the Florida State Seminoles. Go into Doak South, Hard Rock Stadium. Primetime game, of course, the logo means something different. Logo means something when you can get it. You're 1-6, you can get a primetime slot on ESPN. I'm kidding, maybe. But yeah, Miami, it was a sellout there at Hard Rock the third time in the last 6 years, and all 3 times have been Florida State, of course. And you lose 36-14. But I think, it sure was great. I'll get that out of the way. It sure was great seeing Cam Ward throwing the iPad down, probably breaking it, probably, took some cash out of his NIL check that this month, something like that. That felt good to see. But I think, one thing that gives me the most positivity out of this game is just seeing that FSU is fighting, because that was kind of one of the biggest question marks I had is it's all gone wrong. Just about every single thing has gone wrong for Florida State this year. But is this team still willing to fight? And I think watching the game, they sure did. They really stayed in it. They played for each other, and the score doesn't really reflect that. I'd say they made it respectable for a long time in that game, a very long time. So I give credit to Norvell for that, for keeping that team together, for getting up for a rivalry game, because I wasn't quite sure that would happen. And I think it's funny too. All the Miami fans. They put on the black uniforms and all the beef on Twitter. This is Florida State's funeral. Well, it probably sure didn't feel that sweet for you guys, and that gives me a little bit of joy to think about that. It didn't go the way you guys wanted. Didn't go the way you guys wanted. But as far as it's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that needs to be dealt with this offseason, clearly. But I think I'm going to go in here and defend one person I've seen a lot of hate from. And even especially after this game specifically, and that's defensive coordinator Adam Fuller. Everybody wants him gone. From all I've seen, voices in the Florida State media that I follow and I pay attention to, they want him gone. And I just don't understand why. Because I think out of anything to take away from this season is Florida State's defense has played very, very, very well. They've looked bad at times, of course, but who doesn't?
I mean, especially since Boston College, it's been really, really good defense.
It's been very good defense, and you got to think too. You lose how many starters to the NFL? Bernardo Green, Jarian Jones, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, basically the entire linebacker core. All of these key pieces to your team you lose. Obviously, there is going to be some sort of fall off. Obviously. But to call for this man's head is unbelievable. You shut down one of the hottest QBs in all of college football. You shut him down completely. No passing touchdowns. Could not throw the ball. He could not do it. You're making him throw it out of bounds. You're getting pressure on him. Some of the stuff we've said that some of the teams, we got to watch Miami 3 times this year. And that's what we said. You got to get pressure on him. You got to make him make a good throw because he can't. He's a turnover machine. And he's really not that accurate. And Florida State was able to do that. So I really don't understand why he's getting so much hate. And you look at so many games of how the points are skewed. You look at Duke, like I said. That was last week. 17 of Duke's points were turnovers. Short fields. One of them was a pick six. You take all that away, they give up 6 points. You look at Memphis. That's another one. Turnovers cost you points there. Would have given up 9 to Memphis. And you look back at all these things, it really comes down to the offense. And that's Mike Norvell's department. So I think some changes need to be made. I don't think Mike should be fired. I think you got to give him a chance to fix this. But you gotta make some changes. I think quarterback coach is a big one. You haven't really done anything outside of Jordan Travis. And I just think Brock Glenn should be playing better than he has. Wide receiver coach, Ron Duggins, he's been in the program forever, it feels like. That room is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Way too many drops and mistakes, and it's a lot of veteran guys. So changes are going to have to come. But yeah, I want to go out here. There's not much to cover about the game, but I did want to defend Adam Fuller because that's been a bright spot for this team out of a lot of bad stuff. And this week they play North Carolina. Mac Brown, Florida State alum, played ball there. Never beaten Florida State. Will that be another first this year for Florida State? Giving it up. And the I don't think the spread is that crazy for that game either.
North Carolina's been up and down.
They've been up and down. You really don't know what North Carolina team you're going to get. You hope it's a JMU one. They give up 52 points before the end of the first half. So we'll see. I'm not expecting a lot. I think Brock's probably going to be your guy. This is why I reiterate again from the game. PFF grades sometimes you got to take it with a grain of salt. Brock Glenn gets an 84 against Clemson, but then he looks terrible against Duke. Luke Kromenhoek gets a 90, and then he had a spark, but it really came from a big fluke run. Other than that, did not play the best. And Brock Glenn, same thing with him. He had the better PFF grade, but his only touchdown came in garbage time.
Yeah,
all the starters are out. So.
Yeah,
but you probably got to stick with Brock for now. Give him another chance. Let's see if you have something in him.
Yeah, you got to commend FSU for shutting down Cam Ward. 208 passing yards. That's by far got to be his lowest of the season, unless he didn't barely play for one of the Cupcake games. And I mean, the defense is there. You got to give credit to Mike Norvell. I think, all the people calling for Mike Norvell's head, I'd love that as a Florida fan. And that should tell you that it shouldn't happen because I think Mike Norvell is a good coach. I think he has, proven himself the last couple of years. And this just, stuff has unraveled. And to get the guys to fight in a rivalry game and not, get embarrassed, it speaks on the coach because he got him right. And maybe there needs to be some tweaks with play calling and coaching. And I think if he's not willing to do that, then that is a reflection on him. And then that's where the problems start to occur. But I think you gotta give him some credit. Got to give him another year if you're FSU. I think it would be idiotic to fire him, especially with what the coaching market would be. And yeah, I think looking ahead to North Carolina, I mean, offense is gonna have to do something because I feel like it's pretty certain that UNC will put some points on the board. They've done it pretty consistently, but their defense has been pretty suspect as well. I mean, I know their best players are Marion Hampton, really good running back. He's already got 1,000 yards in the season. But I mean, if you're FSU and you want to win this game at home, we got a correspondent going?
No, I was thinking about it, but
No.
I'm just going to stay home.
They've broken Will. It's sad.
I think I might go up for Charleston Southern. That's a
not
guarantee.
the Gator game, bro.
Too expensive of tickets.
Those tickets should be paying us to go to that game.
Seriously. But, yeah, I just thought about it. It's like, as bad as this season's gone, going to Boston College is just a nightmare. If I want to go to one more game, give me Charleston Southern because at least they should,
Hopefully.
play better.
If they lose that game, then maybe we need to fire Norvell. Yeah, so just stop the run game. Get some offense. This should be a game where you should feel positively about the FSU offense. Brock Glenn should be able to get it going. Maybe the receivers make a nice play.
You just need to see some sort of improvement from I'd say if you don't see improvement from Brock, then you say, hit the road. You can transfer. Best of luck to you. And then you just make Kromenhoek the guy. That's my opinion.
Fair enough. Yeah,
you have to. I'm saying you got to see some. You don't have to be you don't have to necessarily win, but more than 14 points for sure.
JMU scored 70 on them. This is not a good defense. You should be able to score 20 plus points at least. Are they still on that streak?
Oh, we've done it once.
Wow, that's crazy. That is really, really bad. Yeah. Are you ready to pick it?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. I kind of... Give me... man. Give me UNC in a heartbreaker. 34-31.
That would be so funny. You know what? Give me... Florida State, as bad as they've been before, I want to say it was 2020.
They beat them and they had Sam Howell.
They beat them.
That was a big win.
And UNC was I want to say 5 in the country.
Yes, I remember that.
And bad, measly Florida State was able to win. And that was Mike Norvell. So we'll see. We'll see if they can, if he can spark that magic again. Mac Brown, has a tendency a lot to play underperform in his teams can underperform big time, in moments where they're supposed to win. So we'll see. For the fun of it, give me the Seminoles 13-10.
All right. Go Noles, baby. Come on. Get off. Just make my friend Will happy. That's all we got to ask for. Let's get a Florida sweep this weekend.
Fighting for my life, man.
Let's give a Florida sweep. All 3 Florida teams win. How would that be? How would TB3 be feeling after that next week?
Hell will freeze over.
It might. As for, your action around the country, I think we should start Friday night. Will was all over the UNLV running Rebels, and they did not deliver against Boise State.
They had their opportunities. I'd say they shut down. I mean, it's crazy for Genty, 136 or whatever yards.
It's a bad game.
It's a bad game. But they shut them down. They played their hearts out. I just think you weren't able to capitalize when you should have. You're up 10-3. Boise State goes for it on 4th down a couple times. You had 2 chances to stop them, and then you turn the ball over immediately in the second quarter there. That kind of ended the game for them. They had to fight back from behind the rest of the game, basically. But you had your chances. Hey, I like that at least it was close. A lot of people call me crazy for picking that upset. And, 5-point L to probably a playoff team. I give them credit. You missed you say your piece about it, and then you gotta go back a couple days.
We can
gotta
do
go
that.
back a couple
Fair,
days.
Fair. Yeah, I think this just really showed. I think UNLV is a really good team. Already beat Kansas, almost beat Syracuse. This just really showed to me like how complete of a team Boise State is. Their defense was able to hold UNLV to 24. That was a pretty high-powered offense, especially that rushing attack. It's pretty darn good. Ashton Genty, not a great game, but I mean, you go back and you have. Your quarterback's playing pretty darn well. 209 yards. They don't ask him a lot. I guess 50% almost completion percentage. Not great, but they don't ask him to do a lot, and he was able to make the plays when they needed him, especially that second quarter, to give Boise State the lead. But, yeah, we can go back to, big game in the ACC. Is Pitt legit?
I was going to say go back even further.
Oh, Kennesaw State?
Kennesaw State, man. Liberty has probably the easiest schedule of all time. That's why they probably weren't going to be a playoff team even if they went undefeated. And then you lose to Kennesaw State, who's never beaten an FBS team before.
NCAA football legend, Kennesaw State team.
Seriously.
That's crazy. Yeah. The spread was something crazy, right? It was like 25 points, 30 points.
Yeah. And just watching the game,
Their first win, too. Kennesaw State's first win this year.
First win, yeah.
It's crazy.
Watching the game, they just had a great game plan. Who's their quarterback for Liberty? He's pretty solid.
Yeah, Salter.
Really getting them off his rocker. I mean, he threw a bunch of picks in that first half, and just a solid game plan from them.
Yeah, that's
I had to shout him out. That was a pretty huge upset.
Statistically, that's the biggest upset of the season. Mm. So, and then Thursday night, Pitt is not legit. I'll say it. They're playing SMU this week, and I'm going to take SMU.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Pitt. I mean, they were right there a couple years ago with Kenny Pickett.
Fake slide.
Yeah, fake slide. And Arduzzi, I think, is a decent coach. I think they really could be legit. To be honest with you,
he's like a 9-3, 10-2 coach to me. I think Pitt will lose at least twice for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean they're not going to win you the ACC. They'd be lucky if they got there, but I think they're a solid team.
Yeah, solid team. Saturday, Nebraska, Patrick Mahomes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers gives Ohio State a scare, but he does throw an interception. This, man, I'm not buying Ohio State right now, especially Will Howard. I'm not buying him.
Yeah, this is Ryan Day's getting up there with the Brian Kelly.
He's got to go, man. He's got to go.
Can't win. Pass the sticks, man. Pass the sticks.
Born on third base. Hasn't gotten home.
Bring back Urban Meyer. Yeah, I think this brings up a lot of question marks for Ohio State. Are they legit? Can they actually win a big game? They have a big test coming up this week. But also Nebraska, you had the chances to win.
They really did.
You had plenty of opportunities. I think Raiola, I mean, he's got a bright future. But just watching that last drive and throwing that interception, play like Dylan Raiola. Don't play like Patrick Mahomes. Play your game. Just gunslinging it too much, and it's an awful read, and a pick that shouldn't have happened when you had the game on the line.
Absolutely. Notre Dame kills Navy. I'd like to say we all saw it coming.
We saw it coming, hoping for a better game. They just got obliterated. It's kind of sad.
They did. Oregon obliterates Illinois. Again, we told you that was going to happen. Unfortunately, UCF did not come to play, didn't get my upset pick, so we went 0-2 on that. We're going to do better this week, though.
We will.
Texas Vandy, that was a good game. Alabama, okay, I have a gripe. AP poll is a joke. Missouri loses 34-0 to Alabama. Quarterback, we don't know what's happening with Brady Cook. You're still ranked? Are you kidding me? I mean, that's a blunder by the AP poll.
The rankings are ridiculous.
AP is falling off so crazy. But yeah, Texas, Vandy, Alabama, Missouri. I mean, anything sticking out to you guys? To you?
Texas A&M, man, what a win!
That was a great game, man. Marcel Reed,
dude, they scared me. They had me in the first half. Not gonna lie,
dude. Marcel Reed should have always been playing. I mean, I saw it firsthand. I was there live. He had Joe Tessitore, moaning after a juke he made, and that dude is shifty and he can throw the ball. He is an electric player. Someone was like, "Man, I didn't know we had Lamar Jackson at Louisville on our bench at Texas A&M." But he is fantastic, and that was an electric game. Dude, the black unis. I didn't realize they were wearing black unis versus the all whites. Sick. That was electric crowd. That might have been the loudest crowd I've heard all year.
Good for the cultists, man.
Good for them, man. Oh, dude, they post some fire videos on Instagram. I've been seeing them in my feed, just like the crowd videos and like the stuff. Like they had them all black. Like they did some good Instagram videos. I gotta shout out Texas A&M Instagram. Should we get to next week?
Yeah, let's hear it. I'm going in kind of surprised. I don't really know.
SMU beat Duke in overtime.
Yeah, Duke had the chance.
Guy.
Duke had the chance to win it on a field goal, and it got blocked. And it goes to overtime, and Duke failed on 2-point conversion. Look, I think Duke, they got the defense. It's really just their offense that kind of holds them back. But I liked Manny Diaz. I think he kind of had an early exit from Miami, which I should have gone back to this. Can I go on a tangent real quick?
Okay.
Because it just pisses me off. It really grinds my gears after the game. Miami, they get to be the so-called state champs this year.
Ugh.
They beat a Florida team that maybe can sneak in a bowl game.
It was our first game, too.
And they beat the worst Florida State team in history,
and they
actually.
beat USF, too.
Beat USF, who has a disappointing year. So they get to call themselves state champs. Couldn't do it any other year, but they get to do it this year. And it frustrates me so much that Mario Cristobal has the audacity to say,
"Oh gosh,"
at the end of in the press conference that, you can see where this program is headed compared to the other programs in the state. Meaning that Miami's on the rise and everybody's on the decline. I mean, it's just been. This is like it frustrates me so much, and it shows you how just boneheaded, stupid Miami fans are, because I heard nothing but that last year that Florida State, we can't recruit anybody. We don't develop talent. All these guys are transfers. That's the only reason why we're good, and we're not going to have sustained success. Jordan Travis, he's a transfer. He's not a homegrown guy, even though he played he was like a receiver at Louisville, basically. And he's played nothing but quarterback at Florida State for 4 years. I heard nothing but that. And then you get to this year, and Miami has to load up in the transfer portal and get a transfer portal quarterback because everybody else there has been terrible. Tyler Van Dyke, whatever, the weirdo who played against FSU last year and was terrible. I mean, all those guys have stunk, and you had to bring in a transfer to save your butt. And what's going to happen next year, Cristobal? You're going to go through the same exact thing. Same exact thing as Florida State. Except the difference is you're not going to have an ACC title because you're not beating Clemson. No way in heck can that Miami team beat Clemson. They're not going to. You don't have the defense. And you really, a 1-6 Florida State team proved that they can shut you down. Mm-hmm. They can shut you down. So I just can't believe he said that. They're going to be in the same situation next year, and I can't wait for it.
Those videos where it's like the like nerd emoji, and it like pans to like with the glasses and the nerd emoji? Yeah. That's how Cristobal sounded when he said that. Like it was so corny. He was sputtering on his words. It was not good, and it's not even a good quote because, like Will said, your top running back is a transfer. Your quarterback's a transfer. You have all these guys. I mean, you got, white boy Restrepo.
And he's gone.
Yeah, he's
never has showed up against Florida State, ever.
Yeah.
And these guys wanted to say last year that he was better than Keon Coleman.
But yeah, it's ridiculous.
Even a Gator fan agrees.
And you have to, what are we, Restrepo's not going to be a first-round pick.
They think that in their peanut brain heads, they think that Restrepo is, a dog. They probably think he's like...
He's good. He's good. Like, he's solid, but I wouldn't say he's Keon Coleman.
He ain't Ricky Pearsall.
No, he's not Slick Rick. See, look, we're coming together just because we don't like you.
Where's that?
But yeah, Miami, they're gonna prove it to me you can do it next year, and then maybe we can say your program's on the rise. But you get a bunch of transplants, it's just not. It doesn't hit the same like you want it to, Mario Cristobal. But we'll get forward. That was a good tangent. I'm glad you brought that back up because I forgot about that video. It was corny.
But yeah, it was Manny Diaz. Yeah.
Manny Diaz. Duke.
I think he'll turn Duke around as long as he stays and
He's a solid coach.
Doesn't jump ship when the opportunity rises like Mike Elko.
Some guys are meant to stay at those programs. I think Lane Kiffin's meant to stay at the programs that are Power 5, but they're not your big name brands. Like Manny Diaz, he was at Miami. That's a big brand, and that's a lot of expectations. And I think it's better, you could build something at Duke and maybe have a special year, but you have a home. You're in a great place. Durham Bulls play there every summer. I think that's a good situation. I think Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss, a good situation. Don't go to Florida, is my opinion. But yeah, that was a crazy game. We'll move forward. Big noon kickoff. I hate that the biggest game of the week's at noon, but it is what it is. Ohio State at Penn State. I'm going to say it. They always suck me in, and I always feel like I'm blindsided by Penn State, but I'm doing it again. I'm taking the Nittany Lions at home. I think Drew Aller is better than Will Howard. I like what the new offensive coordinator at Penn State is doing, and I'm taking Penn State to win this one. Don't let me down, guys.
Yeah, it's a battle of a stoppable force versus a movable object. It's two teams who underperform in big-time games. Who's going to make more mistakes? I think it's going to be a sloppy game.
It's possible.
I just think I'm never going to believe in James Franklin. I really can't. And I think Ohio State by default wins this game. Will Howard has something to prove.
Yeah, he's
something to prove.
Grew up a Penn State fan. They didn't think I was good enough. Duke at Miami. Duke keeps it close, but they're not going to win.
Their defense can keep them in this game.
21 and a
Florida
half.
State's. Yeah.
That's a crazy line. Want to make some money? Put some money on the Duke on the line. This one, Ole Miss at Arkansas. You can go first.
Ole Miss.
I'm taking Arkansas. Arkansas is going to win this one, bro. They came off. They've played some good football. I don't trust Ole Miss at all. Give me Woo Pig Sooie at home.
That's the classic Lane Kiffin. Though
you
already
lost.
Might
smoke him.
Well, you've already lost enough games now. You're just going to win this one.
Well, he's still going to lose one more to Florida, so we're going to have to fit that one in there. Oregon heads to Michigan. Oregon's 14.5-point favorites. Give me Oregon to cover that spread.
This screams trap game.
Really?
This screams trap game. I just think you're going to the big house. In that environment, 110,000 people. Big Ten football at its finest. I think Oregon's got a lot of confidence. That's good that you're going in with confidence, but this really screams trap game to me. If I'm going to pick an upset, I might pick this one.
See, I kind of feel like the better upset in the state of Michigan is this game at 3:30 on Peacock. Indiana, the Hoosiers head to Michigan State. Michigan State coming off a tough loss to Michigan. I'm going to take the Hoosiers, but I think it's going to be a gritty, close game.
Yeah, well, but I don't know. That's the thing. Michigan State's defense is pretty solid, but even without the starting quarterback last year, Indiana was belt to bottom.
On Michigan State?
Yeah, well, last week.
Oh, last week, yes.
Even without their starter, I just think that team's too good for some reason. Not like having them where they are, too. They're, 8 or something?
They're 13.
They're 13. They're good. I don't know if they're that good.
They're better than 13's low. They should be a top 10 team. They haven't beaten anyone good.
They haven't played anybody, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I'm taking Indiana close, and you're taking them big. Kinda.
Pretty big, yeah.
Pretty big. Texas A&M, following a big win, they head to Columbia to face off against the Gamecocks. This one could be a good one. 7:30 ABC, Texas A&M at South Carolina.
Man, South Carolina frisky and fun sometimes, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Give me Texas A&M.
I want it. I believe in Texas A&M, man. I really do, and
Mike Elko's a good coach.
He's a good coach, and I want the Texas.
This program's for real.
I want the Texas A&M juggernaut matchup at the end of the year, so I'll take Texas A&M.
You paying $10,000 to sit in the nosebleeds?
There's no way that's every ticket. That's got to be pre-sale. There's no way they're selling. There's so many seats there. They're not selling. That's crazy if that's how much money it is.
It's just bigger in Texas, man.
Apparently, the cultists, they'll go crazy. Louisville at Clemson. Louisville keep it close? I'm with you.
Louisville, they've quietly had a very disappointing season.
Mm-hmm.
They had one of the, I want to say number 2 transfer portal class, and those guys just really haven't panned out.
Yeah, not great. Give me Clemson big. They're playing good football.
Clemson's back somehow. It's the tale of two
I love
transfer
Dabo,
portals.
so
Some teams they're winning because of the transfer portal, and now Clemson winning because they recruit and they don't go after transfer portal guys.
yeah.
What is it?
What is it? It's
Maybe just people can do it right in different ways, guys.
Absolutely. Wow, that's beautiful, man. Yeah, I'll take Clemson too, big. Maybe one of the most interesting games of the week, Pitt at SMU. Give me the Mustangs, the oil rig.
Man, could this be their welcome to the ACC moment?
Maybe. Would they have some type of crazy conference winning streak or something like that?
Yeah,
From the
everybody's making this joke. Oh, they're so bad. They come in, to the ACC in 1 year. They're like already one of the best teams. That makes me mad. What about Texas? Nobody's saying that about Texas.
Well, they got their butt whooped by Georgia.
Yeah, but they've been, pretty good against everybody else.
Who are you taking?
Give me Pitt.
Wow. Okay, we're split on that.
They're tough, man. They're a tough team.
That's your college football weeks. Real quick, just want to note, we don't have to go crazy into it. USF basketball, we're going to try to cover that. We did not cover that last year. We're going to cover that, briefly, and then maybe more in depth as conference season starts and the new year begins. USF, they open their season next Monday, November 4th, 8:30 against the Florida Gators. It's obviously we need to note that, of course, Amir Abdur-Rahim, he passed away tragically. And let me get his name right. Oh, dude. I should have had this loaded up.
The new coach?
Yes.
Ben Fletcher, isn't it? The assistant?
Oh, boy. Yes, Ben Fletcher is going to take over as the head coach of the USF Bulls. They a big game to start off. Then they also play Charleston, who was a tournament team last year on Friday. To look out, one player to look out for from the people at home if they're watching some USF Bulls basketball?
Yeah, it'd probably be Reed there.
Jaden Reed,
yeah. He had a pretty solid season last year as a freshman. Looking forward for him to take the next step, be the leader of this team. But, it's hard with all these circumstances, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jaden Reed, first team All-AAC freshman last year. Kobe Knox, a really good, solid season last year. The Bulls did lose a lot of production. Chris Youngblood to Alabama, Keyshawn Pryor to Louisville, and Selton Miguel. I want to say he went to Kansas State. I could be wrong on that one. I'm sorry. But probably their top three players lost in the transfer portal, but Jaden Reed should really come in and help produce. Kobe Knox is a returner. You have transfer from Cincinnati, Jameel Reynolds should add some size for them. And, yeah, so this – obviously, the circumstances stink. It kind of takes some of the momentum that USF had in basketball away because they were a rising program. Coach AAR, he was doing great things with them. It really, really sucks to hear about that. So kind of just, root on the Bulls. Be there for them. Support them in this hard time. Big game, Florida versus USF. So if you guys have the time, go out and watch them.
Yeah, definitely go out and support. They
SEC
really
Network.
need it.
Yeah.
They really need it. I'll be praying for Coach Fletch here. He's got a lot of experience, man. He was under Coach Rahim at Kennesaw State, of course, and then, he spent a lot of time at Troy. So he's been around. He's been assistant coach for 19 years. So he's getting a shot now, and, it's hard for me with this team, like right now, like some of my expectations, it doesn't matter about the wins or losses, man. And I think, even Coach Rahim would say, just play for each other, man. Play for each other. Be there for each other, and don't give up. Don't quit. When times are tough, it's obviously going to be tough for everybody to start this season, but just stick together, ride it out. So yeah, that's where I am with them right now.
Yeah, just following his passing, the outpouring of love for Coach Rahim it's been pretty special. You can obviously tell this was a great man who, loved on his players and his family and the people around him, and they loved him back. So it's been pretty incredible. I know he had a tie to Anthony Edwards, which is pretty cool to see on the Instagram post and see, getting the recognition through that. And, yeah, just, praying for this whole, Coach Rahim's family, praying for the team, Coach Ben Fletcher. Just hoping that they can, they're playing their exhibition game. They chose to play it. That's a good sign. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them for getting out there. And as the season goes on, I hope they can, translate some of that, that pain and stuff into some good memories, play for coach, and then maybe some winning basketball as we hit later on in the season. But it's tough. You lose your coach like a week before the season starts. So, yeah, just be on the lookout for USF. We'll mention them here and there, the basketball-wise, for the next couple months in non-conference play, and we'll try to get you at least some touch base with USF basketball every week on TB3U. So if you guys are interested in that, let us know down in the comments. I think that's all we got for this episode. So thank you guys for watching. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe, hit the like button. Comment down below. Do you guys think that USF will get that win over FAU on Friday? Does Florida have a shot on Saturday? Let us know down below. Like the video, subscribe on YouTube, 5 stars on Spotify and all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And have a beautiful and blessed night.